devising correct pharma brand names and protecting IP trademarks are two very, very critical issues in product management. They may sound very simplistic, but in reality, it's not the case. And this is a very important subject which has come up because if you are to read the press in recent times, there have been a lot of cases in terms of infringement of trademarks, a lot of cases which have led to loss of business, and as a result, the stakeholders have been impacted quite adversely. Now, in order to discuss these two issues in greater depth, we have planned this fireside conversation. Just to set the preamble for this conversation today, many of you may probably be aware that pharma brand naming is actually a high-risk proposition. It may sound very strange, it may sound counterintuitive, but the fact is that it is a uniquely high-risk proposition. It's not just putting a brand name to a molecule and then start marketing the product into the marketplace. The reason why I say so is because pharma brand names, they sit at the intersection of three very important factors. One is patient safety, regulatory authorities, and building in a commercial value for your brand. It's a well-known fact that when you have a weak or a risky brand name, it not only dilutes the brand equity, but it can also trigger regulatory rejection. It can also trigger litigation with the appellants, and there is forced rebranding which would need to get done. And at the same time, it would also, involve a lot of costs, loss of time, and it can produce patient harm. And today you will see the speakers, show some examples of very, very similar phonetically sounding brand names, but entirely different therapy areas. And imagine the patient plight if he were to take one instead of the other. So what are the key risk multipliers in the pharma industry when you have these kind of brand names, right? So one is clearly what we call as the LASA medical errors, medication errors, which is look-alike and sound-alike medication errors. So as I just said, you can end up taking one medication which sounds very similar to the other. So these are medication errors. Indian Pharma branded generics formulations business is actually, a very, very vast landscape. And it's dense. It's overcrowded. I mean, show me one therapy area in this country, whether acute, chronic, semi-chronic, which doesn't have more than 20 to 50 branded generics of the same molecule. In addition, there are multi-jurisdictional launches. There are long product life cycles. India is one typical market in the world where the product life cycle is not like typical as you see in the West, right? You see a never-ending product life cycles, elongated brand life cycles. And now when you make wrong choices of brand names and you have elongated life cycles, you can only imagine that the intellectual property brand name mistakes tend to compound over decades, if not less. So friends, if this is a scenario, we have to take our brand trademark as very serious business, right? It's not just preparing a brand name and submitting it to the legal department and then putting a TM or an R registered trademark as the case may be and then start marketing the brand. No, there are far greater and deeper ramifications. And what are those? So a well-protected and a defensible brand name trademark actually shields the hard-earned brand identity, recall and visibility with doctors and patients. A foolproof legal protection of the brand name trademark is an absolute must, and I think everybody agrees, and we will see that during the course of our webinar today. And we believe that distinctiveness is a very good form of a defensible strategy for IP protection. So today, both these topics will be discussed in depth with our experts are here. Without much further ado, I would like to invite and thank Mr. P.V. Shankar Das, who is the first speaker who would share his extensive experience of the topic of creating right pharma brand names, right? Mr. Shankar Das is a known industry veteran for over 4 decades in the Indian pharma industry. He's the man who has built some of the biggest brands in the Indian pharma industry in his rich 4 decades experience. He has built brands in Dr. Reddy's where he spent over 2 decades, and some of the brands which have stood the test of time, like Omaze, Stamlo, Venusia, Nice, Reclide, Razzo. These phenomenal brands and also brand names were coined and developed by Mr. Shankar. He's a seasoned pharma marketing veteran. His last assignment was he was a managing director for Curatio Healthcare, and all of us know that Curatio was a very strong niche focused dermatology company, and it built some very powerful brands like Teddy Bar, Atogla, before Nappy and Permite, and it got acquired by Torrent Pharmaceuticals uh, in 2022. He's currently the operating partner for Jashwick Capital, which is a private equity firm, and he's also a board member for Warnberry Limited. Our second speaker is a legal heavyweight, and I would call him a heavyweight because he is one of the foremost IP trademark protection attorneys in the country. And I would love to welcome Mr. M.S. Bharath. Bharath is the founder for KRIA Law, which is a leading law firm based out of Chennai. Bharath is an IPR strategist and is a GLIPA India board member. He has served on the boards of GLIPA and INTA since 2015, and he's also one of the attorneys of the Asian Patent Attorney Association. In 2020, he was nominated by the Indian National Bar Association as the Lawyer of the Year for IPR. If there is any problem related to trademarks, infringements, IPRs with related to brand names, the go-to man in the pharma industry to a large extent is Mr. M.S. Bharath. And he would share, his thoughts around the topic of protecting IP trademarks. So today's webinar conversation will essentially be around two important topics. The first, as I said, is creating the right pharma brand names, and second is protecting the IP trademarks. And about me, well, I've been an industry guy for 3 decades, 21 years in corporate and 11 years now running my own company. I worked in MNCs and Indian companies, had extensive experience in commercial operations and also cross-metrics roles. My areas of expertise are capabilities building, business transformation and innovation, commercial excellence. And I'm a pharmacy graduate and an MBA from Bombay University.
Yeah, it's my happy occasion for me to share a few perspectives from my experience on creating trademarks, brand name, and maybe a couple of no anecdotal experience on some of the big brands that I have handled. I am also very happy that Mr. Bharath had joined. For many youngsters, let me tell you, the first IP office or trademark office was actually located in Chennai. So it is no wonder that Chennai has produced many brains, which are very, very strong and successful, equally successful in trademark strategy. So, like every one of you, I am also eager to listen to Bharath, my long-term friend. So, let me move into a few slides, and then I would request Shailesh Rao to ask a few questions, which can bring more, anecdotes as well as my experience. So it is one of a very, very important occasion for any brand manager or somebody who is having the responsibility in marketing team to launch a brand. How do we call the brand? How do we name? So that's why I have visualized this picture. So like for parents and grandparents, it is always a cute and exploratory question that how to call the new baby. For every marketing colleague, this is the big question that comes in the mind. And nowadays, I very realistically understand it is taking hell a lot of time, unlike in the past. So this is a very common scenario. So it is very possible, very much possible that a doctor may tell the representative, okay, tell me, what is your brand of tell me sartan? Because my friends, certainly we cannot have this. Okay, in the past it is possible, like Telma was the first big brand and it is a big case study of its success. But if you open the trademark page, or if you open 1LG or any of these things, the number of brands of telmisartan that starts with the tel. Okay, just very quickly let me tell you: Telma, Telzac, Telsartan, Telday, Telmet, Telac, Telz, Telistar, Telmakind, Telefix, Telmizem, Telmisat, Telmipras, Telminom, Telvilite, Telgra, Telsar, Telmica. Are we realistically looking at the difficulty of a physician, the doctor? Okay, so in India, it is a 2.5 lakh crore industry, which means assuming that each SKU is about 2 crores, because that's the statistics. There are close to 50,000 trademarks, and we cannot afford to have so many products in one generic, because many marketing colleagues in the past thought that, give a trademark which is very close to generic, then the remembrance and recall is very easy. In the past, that might have been the case, but no longer that is the case. Why? Because the doctor is confused in the clutter. Not only common man gets confused, retailers are confused, and if at all, if something goes to the courts are, Bharat will be in a position to articulate more, but the judges and the courts are more annoyed the way the pharma industry is calling their brand very close to the generic or its category. Okay, and added to that, this type of a confusion. We know that Dolo is a very, very strong brand. So, like Dolo, there is Dolo 650, there is Zolo 650. Is it only Zolo 650? There is Zolo ofloxacin. There is Zolo D, which is omeprazole with domperidone. There is Zolo DSR. Gentlemen, no, we are all marketing colleagues and we have the responsibility. And that is why I'm saying servicing the brand name is also very, very important, which we will touch about it. But this is really uncalled for. And going forward, we should come out of this scenario, and we should not end up in a 1 mg dictionary where hundreds of telmisartans are available. Okay, it is very, very confusing. Okay, so there must be some other better way where we can create, where we can coin. So, in my experience, I must tell you that I also have made some brands which are closer to generic. Thanks to Dr. Anji Reddy. I worked in Dr. Reddy's for about 25 years. And in those days, Dr. Reddy's was also discovering the molecule. And Dr. Anji Reddy one day called me. When I say one day, I'm talking of 96 or 97 period, and said that Shankar Das, it is okay that we are calling norfloxacin or as Norilet, or amlodipine as Stamlo, or finasteride as Finast, or ketorolac as Ketorol. But I don't want my discovery molecule to be called through its generic. So tell me, like the way whether you can create Avandia, that time glitazones were very, very common. Avandia, there is no connection with glitazone in Avandia. Zantac, there is no connection with the ranitidine. Augmentin, there is no connection with the generic. So in 96, once Dr. Anji Reddy called me, and it was awakening. And after that, I have always looked for coining or creating unique names. So that is my experience. And at a later stage, I will reel out some of the names. So our objective in this session is connecting the dots. People say, what is creativity? Creativity is nothing but the ability to connect two relatively unconnected things to one particular spot, connecting the dots. That is creativity. So I thought, myself from a creative perspective, and Mr. Bharath from a legal perspective, and whatever I am going to say, I would say that it is all subject to the approval of legal clearance. So because they are the people who are strategizing for the trademark protection. So certainly, if what I say now, if you find some slight deviation from what Bharath is suggesting, then you should go by what Bharath is suggesting. But the fundamental principle I am saying is you have to coin, you have to create your own trademark.
Thanks for at least setting the context, because what is important for the team here to understand is that you need not actually coin brand names close to the generic molecule or the moiety, which is always been the easiest way out in our pharma industry for decades. And I'm going to touch upon that in a short while from now. So I want to start asking you, the first question is, we all talk about branding and, brand names. And, in your 4 or 5 decades of experience, is it really important for brand names to play a role in the success of brands and coining the right brand name? Is it really so crucial or important? So would you be able to kick off that aspect with some examples, please?
Yeah. So if I understand your question, you are asking that do brand names really play a role in the success of that brand? So now looking at the success of Omes, looking at the success of Telma or Keterol, many brand managers or marketing teams, CEOs, promoters tend to believe, okay, that it is easier to make a brand successful if you have a product name which is very close to generic. And today all these brands are existing, but we should remember when the time it was applied for and registered, it was almost 20 years over, and we have crossed about 20 years. So today, no longer it is relevant. If you are trying to generate a trademark which is very close to Telmisartan, Telma itself can, because under the popular, well-known category, they can come and stop you. So it is always better to coin the name. Why I say that? It is because most likely in the success of a brand, the name doesn't play a role. After building a big brand with a huge market share or leadership, this comment is made. That is what we should remember. Arey, fantastic brand name here, and that's why it is success. We make that comment after the brand has become a leader or a significantly large brand. But when it started, we should remember it started from zero. So, what did go behind that zero brand where the doctor started prescribing it? It is the strategy. So, what went behind the brand? It is the strategy of positioning, what communication, what patient profile you have talked about, what indication you have talked about, or what symptoms you have talked about, which is the target segment of the prescribers to whom you went and promoted the brand, pricing of the product, distribution of the product, and above all, how the field went passionately in executing the strategy. All these factors are behind a brand getting recalled in the prescription again and again. So I would not like to trivialize that by saying that the brand name is the reason for its success. It might have played a role, but it is a very, very tiny role. But what is the reason for a success of a brand is its strategy. And that is what I would answer for this question.
All
And
right.
brand name triggers a lot of memories once it has become very powerful. So
Right.
after some time, today, if you go to a doctor and tell him just the brand name, Dolo or Crocin or Omis, it certainly triggers a lot of memories of pleasant experience. And that's why the brands, big brands, keep growing continuously. Over to you, Shailesh.
All right. So if I understood you correctly, one is it's not just coining the name per se, which is important, but the overall association of the brand, its distinctiveness, the sales force execution, the ability to relate to the customer. All these important factors go into making the brand name powerful for the brand and its success, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sir, in your opinion, I mean, what is a good brand name after all?
Okay. And that's a very inviting question. So many people, okay, and many promoters, CEOs say it should be short and sweet. Okay, and very comfortable answer. But let us remember the shortest brand name, to my knowledge, which is a failure, is there was an antacid called PH4. So whether and the antacid PH4, you can imagine that what an amount of powerful connectivity, but it didn't survive for long. Okay, so no, but I don't want long name. Some people say it should not be very big. Then what is Spasma Praxivan Plus? The doctor has all the time to write Spasma Praxivan Plus. Okay, so I'm giving you these two examples. Thioastalin Fort. Okay, look at the really brand name. I have one friend at Bangalore, okay, who is making a very successful launch. Another day we will discuss. He is asking the doctors to prescribe a website, okay, called doctor. In your prescription, you tell the patient to come to the website www.nutrineuron.com. Now that is the trademark he is promoting. So there is nothing called short name and a very long name. Any name will get established based on the strategy. So let us not go into the belief of short name will be very successful. Having said that, let me tell you that certain brand names, okay, are becoming very successful if they have a very powerful ending, let us say, and it correlate, no, opposite is not true. So that, let me tell you, when I say very powerful ending means ra, ga, ta, pa, like that, where it is reverberating in the ears of the doctor. We should remember it is the representative going to the doctor, and today the representatives are not as confident as they were 20 years ago. So they just show the visual aid and very mildly they speak about the brand. And if you have the name, which is also having lot of silent syllables, okay, which ends in yes, x and all, or l. So sometime it is possible that the doctor may miss it. So this is only a suggestion. This is not truth or fact. There is no study. But I'm saying that if it ends in a very powerful ending, ra, ga, like that. In Dr. Reddy's, I created division names called Acura, Recura, Zenura, Futura, and then later they expanded into Indura, okay, Ventura. Now, remember the doctor recalls when it is ending in a very, very powerful way. So that is the only suggestion. But once again, let me repeat, it is the strategy, not the lengthiness of the brand.
Sir, it is very interesting that you refer to a point which I want you to kindly expand a little more in detail for the audience here. And it's counterintuitive, and I say so only. Brand with name per se, which is short and sweet like PH4,
Yeah,
doesn't make an impact at the marketplace, as you mentioned. Whereas a long, lengthy brand name like Spasmo Proxy One is able to create and it becomes one of the largest and the biggest anti-spasmodic brands for Vocard for at least 3 to 4 decades in a row.
yeah.
Apart from, of course, all the efforts built into the brand building, what could be one of those reasons, sir, in your assessment, personal assessment, being a branding and a marketing expert? Yeah.
Yeah, so like I mentioned that, first which targeted segment. Today's Pasmopraxevan may be big. Today, Omis is very big and every doctor is writing. But when it was launched in the first 3 years or 5 years, where did you take the brand? That makes a lot of difference. Okay, what is the patient profile you projected? So that is where I said the strategy of your targeted segment, where you positioned it, and whether your team, sales team, had executed it, repetitively repeating the same story. Not every Friday they will change the story. So repetition and certain brand mnemonics, the way you have the product delivered results to the experience of the patients. All these things go behind that, Shailesh. Name is very, very tiny portion.
So you are
But it is
clarifying
very
to,
important from a legal perspective and from profitability perspective. I'm not undermining.
right,
Profit, brands are written in the minds of millions of customers. So
right,
I'm not undermining that, but don't attach to that. It should be 4 letter, 5 letter word, very short or like that. Because the shortest name P650, paracetamol of Apex, is also successful.
right.
Okay, so it is not that all short names are failure, not that all long names are failure. So there are different reasons for a product to become successful, and the trademark is a very, very tiny reason.
Right. Sir, you have referred to the calling of brand names through the lens of the marketing person, right? So, as of now, how do you coin brand names looking at the USP? I want to shift the discussion to look at a brand name from through the eyes of the customer. Don't you think that the customer would be most happy if the brand name is convenient and is very close to the generic molecule itself. Any thoughts around that?
No, then the customer should not have recognized Ozempic. The customer should not have recognized Zantac. Okay, so I'm giving augmentin. The customer should not have recognized because it is not close to. Okay,
Okay,
so the customer is, in my opinion, he is willing to write for a promotion, provided the promotion has a strategy, it is consistent and it is continuous.
right, right. Sir, I want to, we'll come back to the this discussion in a short while when we open up the panel discussion. But a couple of interesting thoughts which I would request you at a later point would be brand names which have no connection with the generic, right? And they, as you mentioned, Augmentin, or for that matter, Zantac, etc. What could be have been the thought process behind coining these memorable brand names? We will definitely come back to that, during our question answer and panel discussion. But I think the context that you have said so far is very valid. That you need to actually, the brand name per se is a very small part of the overall piece, and it need not be very close to the generic molecule, but it has to be memorable, distinct. And I think you spoke a lot about distinctiveness and also the positioning that it occupies in the place of the mind of the customer, right? That would be a fair assessment. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
thank you, Shailesh. And this is a very important question. Is there any particular process where we can create a brand name? Okay.
Yes.
Since this is a creative exercise, there is no answer that this is the only route or that is the only route. This
Right.
is also not a brand plan exercise where these are all the elements we have to. It is a creative exercise. So I
Right.
am going to share with you that what process I followed through which many of that created brand names came out. Okay,
Right.
so and if it is appealing to the audience here, they can also follow all that. Some of the created brand names from my no experience. I'll tell you. Means I have created is this Venuzia, Revibra. These are all from Dr. Reddy's. Venuzia, Revibra, Ibiza, Fiona, Vantage, and in some examples and some from Curatio. If you look at it, Teddy Bar, Tracknil, Crow Nixiax, Atogla. Now these are all the trademarks where there is no relation to the generic, or I think they're all coined names. Having said that, how do I create it? In fact, first let me anecdotally tell you, when I was a brand manager, I am talking mid 90s. Okay, at that time, the only aircraft that used to fly is Indian Airlines. If you look at my Indian Airlines boarding pass, means any travel will be 2 hours, 1.5 hours in that end. And at that time, it is a no internet time. I will always bring back the boarding pass because it's backward side, entire boarding pass. I would have scribbled several trademarks. Okay, which that 1.5 hours, 2 hours, nothing else to do. So I will keep on writing, creating. After that, Dr. Anji Reddy gave the trigger that you should create something very unique. After that, I used to scribble a lot. So the first thing is you should have a white blank paper, and whatever therapy you are in or whatever molecule you are launching, to which patient you are doing it, whatever that comes to your mind, start writing in that paper, whatever that comes to. Now when I say whatever that comes to your mind, it will involve that generic name, it will involve that disease name, it will involve that segment of doctor's name, but they are all purely medical. It will involve pharmacodynamics. Everything you can write, just one word or one line, start writing. But it should not get limited only scientifically or chemistry. Start writing whatever is liked by you. Write some cinema's name. Okay, write some the style of Rajnikant name, whatever that has come to your mind in relation to what you have started writing. This exercise you must to do one full A4 sheet or both side. Keep on writing, don't come to any brand name first. Whatever that comes as an association, you start writing. Okay, Reclide is a successful brand name. I should tell you at the time of launch, not name, successful brand. At the time of launch, how to position it, what is the copy I will write, unlike today where agency write the copy, in those days brand manager has to write the copy. I was climbing down the Begumpet bridge in my two-wheeler as a brand manager. And just opposite to that, there was a Opel Astra car banner, big banner. Okay, and it only asked, would you like to go for a test drive? Would you like to go for a test drive, Opel Astra? Now, while climbing down in Begumpet Bridge, I immediately captured that attention, drive, and went and wrote in my paper. Drive. Why drive? Diabetic patients lose their energy. They don't have their drive. So I wrote drive in that. So I am giving an example. What all the way you can write one word or one line, please start writing that. Now, this exercise, if you do passionately, writing everything in a white sheet, and then keep looking at it till you find a solution, not one name, you will get 8 to 10 different names. Either by coining 2, 3 different words together, I will give an example later, or just that one word itself, where you annex a couple of other alphabets and create a name. So this is where I thought I will give you some example made through this exercise. Let us take Venusia. Now, all the audience in this group understand Venusia is a moisturizer. And when I wrote brand name is Venusia and applied for the trademark, originally I wrote it for sildenafil, Viagra. Sildenafil. That is why I created that name. Now, this was the early 2000 or 2001. Every company was working on their own brand of sildenafil. Viagra was very popular in the media and the press. No internet at the time. So at that time, if Dr. Reddy's was also keen to launch sildenafil, so what brand name I should give? Okay, like this, I wrote sildenafil, okay, erectile dysfunction, okay, many things I wrote. And I also wrote, some of the Pfizer advertisement copy used to be that lasting love, like that and all, it will come. The copy, JAMA will have Viagra advertisement. Okay, don't allow ED to interfere in the erectile, no, your love, like that it will come. Now I don't exactly remember. So I also wrote love. Now when I wrote love, okay, I also wrote great songs of love, like that I have written there. And to my luck or favor, on that day when I came back to home, at that time, not multiple channels, but there used to be one VTV or MTV. Okay, and the song that was getting played in that was the Great Gambler, Amitabh Zenith film. I have seen it during my college days, that Do Love Song Ki Hey, like that the song will come. And it was taken in, I know that place is Venice. Alright, that immediately caught my attention because I am working on my one pager. So I wrote Venice. And I know because in college days I have seen friends and all used to talk that such a lovely place. This is a mood setting, context of that scenario where love will flourish. These are all in my college day experience. So all those triggered the thoughts. So this love as a word became very, very strong. And I looked at what are the associated names for love. So who is the goddess for love? Okay, in Indian scripture it is Manmatan, we say. Okay, in Greek and all, they call Venus as the god of love. So I wrote Venus also. And after the one page is over, somehow this Amitabh Zenith song was so dominating in my mind. I felt that I should write something related to Venice and I should use the goddess of love, Venus. Everything that boiled down to, I wrote it as Venusia. Now we applied for that Venusia brand name. But somehow sildenafil launch was getting postponed and it was not taking place in Dr. Reddy's. So we thought, we will use the brand name for some other purpose. And that's the time the idea for a moisturizer came in. And once again, I went to know which is that moisturizer, whether we have to follow Moisture X, at that time very popular, Ranbaxy, Emoline, I think for MS from MSD, very popular. Okay, whether you have to go for a category or whether we have to create. And when I was looking at that, this goddess of love, Venus, is also goddess for beauty. Okay, so I said that, why not we use the same name, Venusia, for this moisturizer. And that is how Venusia became the Venusia moisturizer. So this is that. All that it is required is to write. If you look at it for the sildenafil, everything I wrote, love songs, okay, no, Vatsyayana, Kama Sutra, everything you will find. I don't have that sheet, but everything in one sheet when you write, it triggers, okay, that creativity. Either you coin from that, combining one or two words or part of the words, or you can make. In Venusia, it is Venus, goddess of love. I added Venus means it is ending in yes. And I told you that I wanted Ga like that. So I said Venus plus Ya, Venusia. That is how the trademark Venusia came in. Okay. Now, the similar thing that had happened, because it's a very passionate thing for me. In Curatio, we wrote many trademarks for myoanisitol. Okay, myoanisitol in Curatio, we took it to dermatologists. And I wrote everything in one page. And Track Nil, it's a successful brand. I think it is reaching about 20 crores now. Track Nil. Why? What is Track Nil? Therapy resistant acne nil. It gets dissolved. Therapy resistant acne nil. Track nil. So that is how it got formed. Okay, so what you require is a white sheet and keep on writing. It is not a 1 hour exercise. It may require 2 days or 2 weeks also, where you keep writing, putting everything in writing. Okay, over a period of time, you will gain the expertise of doing that in the mind. But to start with, I will always suggest you should use a paper. Start writing. Creativity flows when you start using a paper. That's the answer. And I hope I have given examples and the
No,
process
I
which I
think,
followed.
I think it's extremely valuable, very useful for the young generation brand marketeers who are on this call. That is, the first is the need to actually pick up a pen and paper and write down everything that you comes to your mind and not commit yourself to memory. But you can write not just the brand names close to the molecule, but also look at adjacencies. And I think the Venusia example that you just mentioned, the goddess of love, Venus, as well as it is love per se, romance, is a very, very classic example of a very powerful brand that occupies a distinctive position in the mind of the customer. I think
And look at how it connects the dots.
absolutely, absolutely. And
Okay.
I think that's what our brand management team here on the call needs to understand, that you need to think a lot of lateral ways to come up with memorable, distinctive, and unique brand names which occupy that position in the mind of the customer. And thank you for raising that question, sir. I think we'll come back to that part during the panel discussion. So now it's about 5:45, and I would want to move on to the next part of our fireside chat, which is brand names are great, right? You've done the great hard work, you've coined a brand name, and you believe that it is distinctive, it is unique, it's going to create a lot of noise, it's going to stand apart from the clutter. But the real aspect is now when the rubber hits the road, where you have to seek legal approvals, and you need to ensure that the legalities associated with the brand's names are, and converting them into trademarks, because they are the assets of your organization, is very, very important. So to address this extremely important aspect, that is the legal aspect of a brand name, which is the trademark. We have with us MS Bharath, as I mentioned to the audience in the early part. Thank you, Bharath, for joining us. And the floor is all yours. Please, take us through your thoughts around the legal aspects of IP trademarks for in the pharma context. Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of working with a phenomenal brain like Shankar. He is all brands, all day, all week, all month, all year. It's a pleasure to have him as a client and a mentor of sorts for the branding world. While the creativity is absolutely critical, not all of the business world gets into the creative part of the branding. And that's where in the pharma world, it falls into a lot of difficulty, but it happens much after the launch. So in the next about 10, 15 minutes, I've got about 15 slides. mostly graphics, so I'm not going to trouble you with heavy words and classroom kind of a session. Like what Shankar said, a lot of us have seen that there are thousands and thousands of products around us. Since the morning when we wake up, we start brushing our teeth, we have Colgate, Pepsodent, Close-Up, so many brands to choose from, or even the toothbrush brand, which is so different. The phones we use, the cars we drive, the shirts, trousers, everything we use are so many brands around them. So the important part is to see from a legal perspective how brands are registered, what kind of brands are registered, and how pharma brands are treated by the trademark office and also the court, and how does confusion is perceived in the pharma world right now. So I'll just take you through a few quick slides here. So I'll just take you all through the few slides. So if you look at every business, not just the pharma business, every product which they have, whether it is a software product or a pharma product or a shirt or a trouser or a car or a bike or computers, every product has a cycle. First, you have an introduction, there is a growth in the market. After that, the consumers get bored, and then the sales started dipping, and then you have to develop all the product all over again or the branding all over again, and then keep reintroducing. So in this process, you have as a business either into service business or into product business. So you have technologies for every product. You might have a shape or look of the product, and then you have a name. That is the what Shankar started off by saying, that there is a baby which is born. We need to start naming the baby. That's the brand, and you also have the logo. But also from our legal side, the data which relates to your suppliers and customers are also intellectual property, but we're not going to trouble you for all those today. But the advertising campaign you have, the printed campaign, the brochure, the packaging, the inlay, the leave behinds with the doctors and the physicians, the promotional literature, how do you have websites and software? All these are creative assets, and each of those assets need to be protected properly. So, as one would know, if we are in a pharmacy or in a chemist or a druggist store, imagine the kind of number of, look at the shelf, the dispensary, the person who's behind the counter for a customer. It's absolute mayhem for you to compete in that shelf. And most of these, at least the photograph I've shown here, is quite organized shelf. If you go to a pharmacy, most of the dabbas are kept alphabetically, and within the same plastic box, there will be 20 other products of similar sounding names, because all of them are starting with A or starting with B or starting with C. So it's quite a mayhem and quite a interesting industry, because that is the most possible confusion, either from a consumer point of view, either from a doctor or physician point of view, or the person who is in the dispensary point of view. Even a smallest mistake or a smallest differentiator or a confusion can be disastrous. Because if one is going for a pregnancy related medicine, and if they are given a similar sounding drug which is relating to cancer, it's going to be the outcomes for the pregnant woman is going to be disastrous. So why do you need brands? Brands actually help you choose, the customers choose you in a crowded market. It can be, the word strepsils, or it can be just your shape of the product which you are selling, or the color combination of the product you are selling. It can be shape of the bottle in which it is dispensed. It can be a logo where, for example, Bayer has the company logo called the Bayer, so the visual looks of it. And it's also can be a hybrid trademark when there is a joint venture. So if Bayer has had a joint venture with Zydus, then you have a composite hybrid mark like Hero Honda. Even in the pharma sector, you have Bayer and Zydus come together. So we need to understand that brands are of different color and combination. And even for the pharma world, Tata 1mg does not manufacture any drugs, but in the pharmaceutical world, you should know that even they are actually the Amazon of pharma, right? So 1mg is the online player. So you need to know that even pharmacy can have, like Apollo or Tata MG might have service marks where they don't have their own products. But of course, Apollo of late has started selling physical products, much to my dislike. Uh, some of the products sold there resemble many other products. So I would like to touch upon this. Of course, I'm giving away some of the questions, but it's absolutely important to know what is the fight which happens between our legal world and your world, which is marketing. Because marketing will always want some brands which are very, very easy to sell, very easy to create, opposite of what Shankar was telling. Because you want to tell the consumer what is easy to sell. So the marketing department or the brand department will pick up all generic words. They will say pain relief, there is classic, there is pain gone, and things like that. Or recently, last week, the Madras High Court said no, Vicks cannot monopolize the word vapor or vapo. So they said that it is the product Vicks Vapor Rub, when applied on the chest or the nose, was giving out vapor. Therefore, even though you've used it for so many years, since it is vaporizing, rubbing balm, they said vapor cannot is descriptive, therefore you cannot monopolize it. But the marketing would try and use words which are very, very easy to coin. They would not make new words. They will pick up words from the dictionary or which describe the product very quickly. So the suggestive brands are like you understand what the brand is, but it will not immediately tell you what the brand is all about. For example, All Chem, though it is written ALKEM, it is all chemicals. So it will give you some indication as to what the product is, but it is not describing the product. So Alchem is a very nice brand. And what Curatio, as in Curatio, what Shankar's previous company was doing was Teddy Bar. And that is something called an arbitrary brand, which means that, like Sun Pharma, Sun is a known word, Teddy is a known word, Bar is a known word, but Teddy Bar was completely arbitrary for infant soaps. Probably you have Teddy Bear for a kid to play with, but not Teddy Bar for infant soap products or skincare products. And then absolutely invented word like Volini. Volini doesn't mean anything. It doesn't describe. It doesn't exist in the dictionary. Therefore, it is absolutely a safe brand. So you need to understand. The more you go towards the right side, it is easy to protect, difficult to copy. The left side of the screen is very easy to market and easy to copy. So when you have an easy marketing brand, which means that if others are copying, they will get away with the copy. But if you have a brand like Alchem or Teddy Bar or Volini, if anyone copies it, it is very easy for the legal to say, how did you copy it? I created the brand, it is not a dictionary word. So anything which is half of the screen and right side are great brands. It doesn't need extraordinary powers to create phenomenal brands, but it needs a level of imagination, a level of inputs which you need to have the cognitive skills for that creativity. So, as I said, the brands can also be packaging. They can be the color combination. So, in this, you have the entire packaging. For example, Volini has a white background, violet lettering, and yellow on the right side. And Crosin has a blue background, white lettering, and dark blue on the front side. And these by themselves can also be together, not just the word Volini, not just the word Crosin, but the entire packaging can also be trademarks in our world. So it can be words, it can be labels. It can also be symbols. There is no word on the screen as you see right now. Some of you can try and guess. We can have a quick quiz. I will give you 30 seconds. If in the chat is anyone able to tell me what is this logo and what is this logo? If anyone can
Biocon
put quickly
India.
on the chat.
Biocon India.
Excellent. Excellent. So, in fact, that is Biocon. The answer is correct. And Dr. Reddy's corporate logo. So, if anyone were to see these two logos stand alone over a period of time, everyone will know that they are standing for some brand. So, that can also be symbols as being brands. They can also be full packaging. This on the left is Apitamin. That's one of our clients, TIL Healthcare, which does products for the export market. That is for enhancing your appetite so that you bulk up and you have thin persons becoming a bit more muscular. And then there is Bengay, which is also having a very unique color combination of white and pink here. So in the Apitamin, you will see that there is an orange background, there are squares in it, and then there are some pixelated white, light pink, dark pink. We will talk about it in a bit because there were persons who were trying to copy it as well. So what we call this as a trade dress, which means that you are dressing up the entire packaging with unique colors. It's as though someone is going to a wedding. All of us will try to put up our best clothing and then go. So if you stand out, even without the words, this color combination, how you have packaged the entire packaging will be protected as a trademark as well. There are a few sounds which also can be protected, but it's good to know for you. I don't know whether you can hear what I'm about to play. That's the sound mark of the company called Viacom. So all their colors, channel, color Tamil, color Telugu, color Marathi, in between advertisements, they will play this when the company logo comes up. They have registered that sound mark as a trademark. And then you also have off late interiors of stores as being trademark. So if you have a consistent set of interiors in your store, you can put those elements together and register it as a trademark. Here is a Godrej store where they see all these 4 or 5 elements of the furniture put together were registered, and no one else should put the same set of furniture in the same combination. Taking the same logic, colors can also be trademark. We will take you to pharma color combination as well. On the left side is a tractor. The color combination of that green and that yellow can be seen half a kilometer away. Half a kilometer away, you can't read John Deere, but you know that green and yellow tractor is a John Deere tractor because most of the tractors in India are red color. Whether it is Rane, whether it is any other Mahindra tractor, TAFE tractor will all be in red color. So when John Deere introduced green and yellow from far, you know that it is a John Deere. And similarly, even Starbucks cups with a green logo was protected, and Tiffany blue was also registered. So this is another client of ours, which is Kaplan Point, and they had these packaging which had the white, yellow, blue combination. So what we had recommended is, this being one of their biggest selling brands, we said they should register that trade dress separately. So we deleted all the birds and the logos on it and took this right side nude label. What we call it as a nude label because it's undressed with all the words. And then we got a registration from the trademark office only for that. So even if the word is not copied, if the color combination is copied, we will be able to stop them. And that is now standing registered, this exact white, yellow, blue combination. Last but not the least are also alphanumerical brands. This is also another client of ours. It's a bit innovative way of coining trademarks where it is alpha and numerical. If you look at the ingredient, it says L-arginine and proanthocyanidin granules, which is meant for pregnant women, usually as nutritional supplement for enhanced uterine growth, retarded uterine and intrauterine intrauterine retardation of growth. For that, to improve that, to get over the retardation, these granules are given. So the ingredient is L-arginine. From there, they have devised ARG and 9. So this arginine was revised, and we've been successful in stopping persons from using the alpha-numer part of it. The other parties are very free to use L-arginine, indicating that it's the ingredient. But if they start using the alpha-numerical, we'll be able to stop them. Shankar did mention about the Viagra. Viagra's registered this shape of their product because it's a very uncommon shape of a tablet, and it's got it's a very unique shaped product. In the US, they got both trademark and patents. Even in India, they have registered the blue color and the shape of Viagra as a trademark. So shapes in India for pharma are also registered. So why is it that we are talking about all these kind of problems? Because whenever there is a look-like trademark, there is a problem because your sales will be stopped by a competitor if your mark is close to their mark. Therefore, before adopting a trademark, you should sit with your brand advisor or a trademark attorney or a brand lawyer and search the trademark office records and the online and pharmacopoeia and listed online branding pharma brands to see if there are similar sounding brands. If the market is too crowded, you are not going to stand out in the crowd. Therefore, you have to analyze the search, assess whether there are conflicts. Only after that, after getting the brand clearance, legal clearance, will you be able to search and launch it without risk. Because imagine, you will be invested in packaging, you will be invested in the sales, marketing, your representatives will be going from one doctor to the other to sell it. And after that, if you are fully invested and someone comes and stops you, saying that my brand is being violated, you don't want to do the search and the difficulty then. It's better that we search the trademark much ahead of time. The reason why we are saying that there will be problems all from words and also colors is in the Colgate versus Anchor, which is also a quasi pharma product, which is also in the same class category. The color combination, they say, if you go to villages or town, the person who is an illiterate or a semi-literate farmer or an electrician who doesn't understand to read the word Colgate will only perceive the colors as white and blue. Therefore, they said, Anchor, you have tried to copy. Similarly, even the Nivea case which we did was when my previous role in the previous organization I was, the court said, look at the blue which has been used. Look at the white cream on top of it. There is a brown color droplet, and then there are some products which are kept inside the white, wherever I'm showing the mouse right now. So when a person looks at it from a very far away in a store, they will be led to believe that this joy is looking like the old Nivea. So what I'm trying to say is generic names are to be avoided. What they can never be protected as a trademark, and you will not be able to stop a third party from using generic names. That generic name in the pharma world is called international non-proprietary name. We have a separate section provision under law, section 13 in Trademarks Act, which says if it is a non-proprietary chemical name, you will not be able to use it as a trademark, and it is excluded. So that is game over. Even the courts have repeatedly said you cannot add a word before or after and say I am different. So you cannot have a Sai Apollo Pharmacy and say, I'm sorry, you are only Apollo Pharmacy, I'm Sai Apollo Pharmacy, therefore I'm different. The doctor and the courts came down quite heavily, and this pharmacy was even shut down. I was earlier referring to color combination, and our client's product on the left side is apitamin. If you see that they have a beautiful light orange with checks on top of it and a lot of graphics which are in white, light pink, dark pink, different shades of pink. And if you look at the right side person, they have copied the word apitamin as adding a L to it, lapitamin, and also the color combination of orange and this X and all these graphical elements, which was a clear slam dunk. So the court, as in the Supreme Court, in the case was Cadila versus Cadila, set down certain rules. They said that, look, if at all I have to determine confusion, whether in a pharmacy, a party is going to ask for a. So imagine a person is going to the Sai Apollo pharmacy and asking for a pharmaceutical product or a drug. And then the person who is going to dispense it will be confused, and that confusion will be measured by these nature. These are the factors which the Supreme Court said and said. Let us first look at the nature of the marks. Is it a word mark, or does it have a label, or is it composite mark? What are the similarities? Is there a phonetic similarity? Is there a visual orange versus orange similarity? Or have they copied only the idea? And the nature of goods also plays a lot of role, whether it's a pharma goods and what are the rival goods, how much similar are they as well. And last but not the least, they are saying whether the class of purchasers, whether the purchaser is an educated postgraduate or the purchaser is a literate or a semi-literate. In the pharma world, unfortunately, out of 1.4 billion Indians, 70-80% of them are either semi-literate or fully literate. The confusion is absolutely very, very high because they will be fully reliant on the person behind that, the counter to give that product. So I just want to leave you all with few paragraphs quoting the Supreme Court. They say that while the doctor is writing the prescription, they don't have the best of the handwriting. As a lawyer, I can say that my handwriting is decent because I don't have to write much, because all these times we are starting to type and dictate on electronic products, but my handwriting is still decent. But not that all doctors have bad handwriting, but some have bad handwriting. Have capital becomes small, A looks like U looks like J. A lot of times all these are problematic. So when similar sounding in a prescription, if a similar sounding name is written, a lot of problems will be caused at the pharmacy when it is being disposed or dispensed with. Similarly, the confusion may also occur between medicinal and non-medicinal products. Of late, what is happening is pharmacies are also selling non-medicinal products. So you don't want a situation that they have a dispensary, they might have, chips, they are selling Nivea products, they are selling Lux and they are selling shampoo, they are selling body wash, they are selling everything, which is not necessarily medicinal. So they are selling Eno also, they are selling L-arginine product also. So all these are mixed up in the same pharmacy. So the pharmaceutical brand should also be not like non-medicinal products also. So that's also a bit of problem. And then they are saying that for all these reasons where different diseases can also be confused, as in the pharma brands meant for different disease. If one is meant for pregnant women, if another is meant for cancer, or if it is meant for antidepressant drugs, it's quite a bit of a problem there. So to summarize, it is absolutely important to go back to that slide of mine, which says that you need to be careful in choosing your brand names. So I'll just pause here for a bit and tell you the left side generic brands are bad, descriptive brands are bad. Only on the right side corner, suggestive, arbitrary, and inventive brands are as better as possible. So I'll just move on quickly and summarize this. Trademarks are territorial. So if you are in the export market, you need to go and register the brand in every country where you are manufacturing, every country you are exporting to, or every country where you are selling the product to. So just because you filed it in India, it doesn't have a concept of an international brand. You need to register it separately in each of those countries. And also, as a marketing team or branding team, you need to tell your packaging or the sales team also is that unless the mark has become registered, don't use an R. Just because you have applied, it does not become registered. You should use a TM always. You can use a TM always, but only when you have registered and got a registration certificate can you use the R within a circle. So you have to be quite careful insofar as this is concerned. But when a third party copies your brand, either that label versus label, word versus word, you cannot keep quiet. You need to tell your internal team, audit team, legal team, they will take action through an external lawyer like us. And caution notices are good for very, very large brands like your Perlice brand of Curatio or like Omaz, as what he said, and also for Teddy Bar. Any big brand which has touched 100 crores, you can release a caution notice and say that please be aware that this is our brand, please do not copy, so that you can educate the large consuming public. If there is a small party who started recently, you need to send a legal notice. But if there is an organized crime or an organized level of large scale violation, then you have to go to the court. And last but not the least, you have the option of customs recordal. A lot of times there are pharma products which are manufactured abroad cheaper and brought to India. Luckily, India is the capital of pharma, so 40-50% of pharmaceuticals in the world are exported from India. But you can record your brand with the customs so that the customs can stop all copied brands from coming out from other countries. And of course, you need not always fight parties in the court. You can always settle and seek a license as well. That brings me an end to the slideshow I have here. I see a hand up from Ms. Soumya Kagati.
So let me just introduce myself. I am from Indoco Remedies, and I look after the emerging market sector of international business in Indoco, and I look after the portfolio management for this specific department. So my concern here is regarding brand names, in concern that we are manufacturing in India, but we will be commercializing and exporting a particular product to the different emerging markets, majorly Africa for that matter. So if we are manufacturing and exporting there, so do we need to have a unique name or register that trademark in India as well, along with registering in the overseas market?
So glad to hear that, because if you are manufacturing all your products in India for the export market, please do register it in India. We've had excellent, phenomenal results of doing that. Especially, I'm very happy to see that our own some of our clients are here. Tablets India Limited (TIL), the division which exports alone. They don't have a market in India. So what they did was they registered it in India so that there is a registration for the Indian market. Any manufacture in India for the sake of export, you don't want a Gujarati company or a party in Baddi, Himachal Pradesh, manufacturing it in India and selling it to your African markets. And you have a trouble because only your African importer will say, boss Soumya, what is it? What are you doing? India is exporting fake products to Africa. So if you register the brand in India, even though the infringer or the exporter is not selling in India, you can still go after them. So the example of the apitamin label I showed you, they had a registration in India. The other party was only exporting, they were not selling in India. We still initiated an action in India and stopped export from India. So
Okay.
answer is yes, please Even if you export only for foreign markets or African markets, register your brands in India.
But if there is a conflict happening, then in that case, we will not be register. Will not be able to register.
Correct, of course. That's an absolute yes.
Yes. Okay.
If there is a home country conflict, you should not register it in India.
In your vast experience of registering trademarks for pharma brands, how different is it, how difficult or how different is it for pharma brand names versus non-pharma brand names? I mean, you have spoken about, generic, you're talking about suggestive, make it more complex, and so it's more unique. What's been your experience?
The experience is that we have 45 classes in India and abroad, universally for products to be registered. And for pharma, the respective class is class 5.
Class
And
5.
that is, and in class 5 is the highest filer in all the 45 classes. So pharma is registering the most. That does not mean that all of them get registered. I would say 40% of them get refused. That is because 50% of them are generic. Generic means they are a bit boring because they will only take the chemical names, they will take the ingredient names, they will take the non-proprietary names, and they will take the ailment name, they will take the disease name and use those. That's what happens. For example, the most famous case of what I just told you is Cadila versus Cadila. The two competing brands were actually Falsi Go versus Falsi Tab. And there were about 150 other brands starting with Falsi, Falci, because it was curing falciparum malaria, a type of malaria. So everyone said, okay, if it is Falsi, I can use Falsi Tab, Falsi Mac, Falsi Pod, Falsi Tab, Falsi Go. Falsi will be common to trade. So the difference between other industry and pharma is other industries are slightly more creative than pharma. Pharma is the most aggressive filer and registering industry, but they are not as creative as other industries. Therefore, this session we would like to say be a bit more creative than using just again and again the ingredients or the disease name.
I will add, Bharath, that we got away 20 years ago, but that scenario no longer existing is the point. Okay, so we have to create a coin name.
Question for Shankar sir, and I think even Bharat could answer this. Sir, in today's times when we have tools, apps, AI generated stuff, chat GPT, we live in an era where information is at our disposal. So the entire process of coining the brand name and then legalizing it through the registration of trademark, does the brand manager or the marketing heads, etc., still have to go through the traditional route of searching the various gadgets, or can they do a quick search or an app search at the fingertips or at their command, which can, make it easy so that even the future disputes, etc., can be taken care of? Is there something available like that, sir, in India? I mean, the question is for both of you. I mean.
I can quickly answer that. Look, in India, we are a common law country. The Britishers left behind what we know it as the UK law. Common law country means that equity plays. It is not Raja country, it is a Janta country, which means any party who launches the brand first gets the brand ahead of time. They need not file the brand or need not register the brand also, because registration is not mandatory, but it is most important. Therefore, I might have taken a brand and launched it and used it for 10 years, forgot to apply and forgot to register.
Oh.
So, answer is yes, you need to search. I'm saying it 3 times because trademark search alone is not important. In the pharma world, I remember 25 years back when I started my career as a young lawyer, our office used to subscribe to the pharma index. every 3 months or 6 months, the entire brand names of all pharma companies will come. But in the last 25 years, the number of pharma companies, we need a directory now. So it's very difficult to keep track of all the brands of all companies, but there is no quick fix. It's only an approximation effort, but you need to keep proof that you did a search and you got an opinion. So that later, if there is a risk of someone coming after you having copied, you can say, look, I did a search and so-and-so lawyer or so-and-so brand lawyer did this search and cleared it for me.
All right. Shall
I add something?
Yeah, please.
I have to recall one experience, and even when the lawyer gives that search report is over, still there is a gray area where somebody without any registration and all in remote corner of the country, if he had generated proof that he has launched, he has not registered, but he has done a launch and he has marketed this product even in a small town, and it is his brand name, the courts favor that smaller brand. So physical search also, in my opinion, is required. I will give you an example from my past. There was a statin, atorvastatin or something, and this company, I have worked for the company, so I don't want to get into the naming of the statin was there, and a Bombay-based company which is very popular in antiseptic liquid. They have metoprolol in that same name with only one alphabet difference. While this company launched it statin in 2000, post 2000 with O, one of the letter, that company had A in it. So there was only one difference, and they have not registered. This company had launched it. Okay, and those company people, they called this company, and I was also there. Then, so we were ready. So give up your rights for that mark. We will pay you 10 times of your annual sales. We looked at ORG. Annual sales of that Bombay-based company's annual sales was 2 lakhs. We were ready up to 25 lakhs to pay and settle. But that company said, for me, it is 2 lakh brand, my dear friend. For you, currently, it is 2 crore. So, so give me 20 crore. I agree to that 10x of the sales. But don't calculate from my name, my sales, but calculate from your sales because you want to protect your name. Now I recalled, and this is a real incident. I recalled this because what Bharath said is search. Search is from records, from Google, everywhere, and also, if possible, physically in any nook and corner if somebody is having. There is no other.
Yeah, Shailesh, I just wanted to read out the comment written by my friend Vijay Malkani. She is the legal officer in Sun Pharmaceutical. And she is saying that, yes, prior user without registration, even the Burger King in Pune got away because they were using it in India from 1993, much prior to the original Burger King who came in 20.
All right.
We have 2-3 hands up.
Yeah, 2-3 hands. I want to first request Surya Prakash to go ahead with his question, please. I think he has raised his hands first. Yes, Surya. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for having this. Actually, it was a very informative session. My only doubt is, for example, let's say a brand name have 3 particular words. One first letter you have registered as a trademark, and then the second word is similar to some other brand, maybe in the same segment, and the third is generic like serum or cream. So, do we still have to change the whole name, or how to proceed with that one?
Sorry, my question is, yeah.
Now, Bharath, you are answering. My answer is no, Surya, because there is a similarity of part of the trademark is whether it is serum or lotion that is there, and there is a commonality in the middle name. So only one, the beginning is different. It is something like what Bharath showed, aptamine and laptamine. It is something like that. In case it is going to the court, it is very difficult to fight. If you have proof that you have launched earlier than your competitor, then you can perhaps get a favorable verdict.
Yes, Surya ji, in fact, Shailesh had a question for me, which is put up on the post of LinkedIn before this. the most important part of any branding is documentation. If you are thinking about a brand, what Shankar is saying, that he went and looked at Venus, he also looked at Astra. Whenever you are coining a brand, mail it to your colleague and say, these are the 10 brands we have coined today, go and check. Then they will mail it from one person to their lawyer, and that mail chain will be there. And then they will go and trademark search, and the opinion will come, that will be there. Somewhere you will go to DCG, the drugs controller, you will apply for the drug license, keep that documentation alive. You will also go and apply for a trademark application, keep that alive. So keep all the document chains for that brand as though it is the birth certificate. For a child, whenever there is a birth, they have a birth certificate. Similarly, you need to have a birth certificate for all your brands, which will be your trademark search done, drug authority application, trademark application filed, search done, everything.
A fantastic answer, Bharath. I like it. I thought this will come naturally, and you have this. I call as a servicing. Brand managers are responsible for servicing that trademark. I should tell you one personal example where Bharath was very successfully strategizing for that product. Is we had a teddy bar, and there is a Hyderabad-based company which put in pediatric conference that they are launching Teddy Soft. Okay, the moment our field force sent one photograph of Teddy Soft is getting launched, we moved in immediately to take legal action. And we found that they are exactly doing that photograph what Bharath showed. Nivea and another similar blue color and other thing, exactly everything looking like teddy bar. Only thing the trademark was Teddy Soft. We pulled them to the court and stopped them. Even before they had 3 months stocks, but even before they could complete their launch, we stopped it. So that is possible only when you service. And what is here, the service I am referring to, keep your eyes and ears open when the field is sending you a feedback message in WhatsApp or mail that I am seeing similar sounding or similar looking trademark. Doctor has brought it to my knowledge. Immediately get a chemist bill, invoice of that infringing mark, create evidences. Okay. And when you launch a brand, not only the lawyer's certification, but also create your first invoice copy you retain. When you get approval from local drug controller to manufacture in your name, retain that. In case that brand is advertised in SIMS or MEMS, retain that advertisement in the launch. All these things are service to the brand, which is the responsibility of the brand manager, not the legal department. Brand manager should take responsibility for doing this.
I think that's a very valid point, Shankar sir, because what I have seen is very often brand managers or the marketing works in silos and the legal department works in silos. And the trademark application just does not happen right at the initial outset, Shankar sir. It happens once you apply for the DCGI approval, because it's at a molecular level. They want to get the products approved. Now we're going to see that happen in the next 2 months with obesity market going to hit the ceiling like crazy over the next 2 months, where we'll have at least 70 brands hitting the market on day one and day two. So it's a very interesting scenario that is shaping up over the next 45 days. In this case, sir, even Shankar sir, it is important that, would you agree, both of you actually, that the brand managers need to pull in the legal people right from the initial stage of calling the brand name, servicing the application for the trademark, so that everything works in a seamless fashion, so that we are not in for any stocks at the time of launch. Would you agree to that, both of you? I mean, I just thought of asking that question.
I absolutely agree. I will give another example of Omis versus another top 10 pharma company. Now, this company had launched something similar to Omis, exactly dressing, everything looked the same. Okay, I don't want to name the company because it is in the top 10. And we went to the court. But the judge pointed out, at the time I was not in India business, I was in the international business. I was operating outside. So I didn't know these marketing colleagues, they didn't escalate it to legal team as an issue. And in the process, the court, the Delhi High Court, took a view that you are a big company and this company is also a big company. When he has exactly copied everything and all, for 3 years, what you were doing. Okay, well, no, it is a very, very delayed action. So the judge said, would you like to go for a out of court settlement? So we had to go, but that company agreed to change that entire dressing, not looking like Omis. And that brand is also now active in the market, but it is timely action. So the brand manager has a legal expert within the company. They will not know who is reaching the market. It is the field force and the brand manager. They have to escalate it to the in-house legal person with all the relevance. So in this case, how did we take it to the court and change the other companies, at least dressing? I collected all that, 1991 Omi's launch, Sims advertisement, all those ORG, hard copy, printout, all those things helped us that, we were there much earlier and it is a very popular and well-known name. That's what has helped. So that is my answer, and over to Bharath. Bharath, you are muted.
Sorry. I'm saying it's absolutely important to act fast and act quick. A lot of times we think that a company which is bigger than ours, we cannot win over. As long as these documentations are clear and you are senior, you are prior, anterior, you have absolutely great rights. And one thing I have great belief is, at least in the Indian legal system, a lot of times we think, oh, Indian courts are very slow. Last 10 years, the Indian courts have become super fast, sometimes as fast as Germany or UK as well. So you file a suit in the morning, you get it numbered in the afternoon, you then get a order in 3 days from now. Of course, the factors are all there. If the other parties also got a registration when you are caught unaware, there is a different problem and factors come into play whether you have to cancel their registration or not. But if your marketing team, sales team gets to know that there is a lookalike in the market, you have to whack them really hard, really fast. Because if they also launch, if they also become bigger, the court will start saying that, oh, they are already in the market for 2-3 months or 6 months or 1 year. There is no urgency in passing or stopping them right now because you've not shown interest in stopping them earlier. You also came to court much delayed. So you need to be eyes and ears as to what Sankar is saying as being servicing. So keep your search done before launch. Keep your documentation about the launch. Keep your advertisement, marketing figures and invoices, photograph of what you have done. Keep all that place. Buy an Almera for every brand and keep putting all the documents for that brand into that Almera. Because a brand will be worth 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs when you launch. Almera is about 15,000-20,000 bucks from Godrej. So please buy that. Keep all physical documents because at some point of time you can digitize them. But to prove in a court, you need physical documents also to combine with the digital documents. So act fast, act quick, search, document.
Great. I have Pankaj Prasad who would want to ask a question. I think we have a little over time, but we might permit another 1 or 2 questions. Yes, Pankaj.
So, good evening, sir, and good evening, Sankar, sir, and Bharat,
Yeah.
sir. So, we know each other very well. So, I will not introduce myself much. I am also an ex-Curasian, worked with Sankar Das, sir. So, I have 2 questions, sir, on a legal ground. So, one is if a brand has been registered and it has expired in, for example, 2025. So, and the same name I am looking for, and they have not extended their registration, can I go for the registration? That is my first question. Second question, I think sir has answered half, but I still wanted to know. So if a brand has been in the market, like we launched the brand, it is registered already, but there is no brand for in that name. They have just registered some maybe 2-3 years back, and they have not launched any brand. And I know for sure that brand is not in the market. So the same brand, if I launch it, and I start doing the sales, and maybe after 1 year can they object, and who will be on a winning side? So these two are the important questions, because I go through this IP and all the search, and so many things. And these are the things which I have got the knowledge about. So I just wanted to know from you also.
So, sir, Vijay has also typed a response on the same lines in the chat. You need to understand that there are two parallel worlds of trademark rights. One right is on the register, one right is in the market. The register market right is called the registration. That is only giving you some additional right. But the basic right is what is there in the common law or the market right. Whoever launches, the consumer knows about the brand and starts making a connection. What is the role of a brand? It is a badge of origin. I know today Mercedes-Benz comes from a company called Daimler. Mercedes-Benz is not a company name, right? So I know Lux comes from Unilever. Unilever is a company name, but Lux is the brand. So brand's work is to connect. So if I launch a brand today, the customer starts connecting the company with the brand. So the common law right is something in the market right without a registration. So even if a registration is an additional right to sue for infringement under the statute. But if the registration expires, it does not take away or extinguish the user right which is already there in the market. So their right to stop you will continue even if the registration has become cancelled or invalid or rectified. Their common law right exists. So you need to go and see in the market, engage an investigator or engage a lawyer like us. We will engage investigator. Go and meet the representatives of that company to see when was the last time they used. If more than 5 years they have not used, it is very safe to assume that they have abandoned the mark, then you can launch it. But if they have used it until recently, you cannot assume that they have given up because the registration is cancelled. So don't take the risk that a mark is not cancelled, it is removed, it is rectified, therefore it is free for use. Is a very, very risky proposition.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. And another question, sir. If
couple of
registration
questions.
has been done, but there is no product in the market, so in that case, can they like infringement can be there or not?
In that case, a pure infringement is possible. But as I said, if you launch the product before them, you get better rights than a unused registered mark also. So there is a very unique conundrum. It's called
पूछ रहे हो ये मीटिंग में भाविन कहाँ गया?
Please mute. Yeah.
It is called a brand squatting, like cyber squatting. You go register a brand, don't use it, and you keep renewing it for every 10 years. Then it means that you are only squatting without an intention for use. So if you need to first go conduct an investigation, confirm they have not launched. If they have not launched it, you can have two options. File a cancellation and said, I am about to launch it, I am launching it or already launched it. Therefore, your registration is only a squatting registration with no use. But you also have the second option of a settlement, like what Sankar Da said, go and buy the party. That party might be 2 lakhs, you might be 2 crores. At the end of the day, he is sitting on a registration which he would have used only 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 to get it registered.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Kiran raised his hand. Kiran, you have a question? Yeah, please go ahead. Hey, coffee.
See, somebody has put their mic on, please. Please switch it off. Yeah, question. The person who raised the question, please go ahead.
Yes. Kiran? I think Mr. Kiran Kumar raised his finger anyway. If not, then any final questions before, because we are a little over time, or observations from the participants?
Namaste, sir. Myself, Sandeep from Gujarat. Are you listening? Sir, there is one question. I have one brand. We already register in the pharma in group 5, but we are not registered in the group 3 where the cosmetic brand available. So, and same competitor use that brand in the register number 3. So, can we legally fight them?
Yes.
We are users since long before that.
Yes, sir. Normally, class 5 and class 3 are what we call it as allied and cognate. A medicated soap is class 5, non-medicated soap is class 3. Medicated face wash is class 5, non-medicated is class 3. Even the mouth gargle, Listerine, mouthwash will fall under class 3. But if you have a betadine, which is a medicated mouthwash, then it falls under class 5. So they are allied and cognate. Just because they are in different class, they cannot copy you. If you have a prior user, prior proof of documents, you can try and stop them. But one has to obviously study who is senior, who is the elder person, who is the younger person, and if they have elements of further color copy, etc.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Sir, I think we are well and above the time. It's about 6:45. We should probably close the discussion because people have to, it's a long day and it's a weekend and people would have their plans. I don't want to hold them back. But I want to really, first of all, thank both you, Bharat sir and Shankar sir, for coming up with this unique but a very relevant and a pertinent topic of creating brand names and more importantly, protecting IP trademarks from a legal standpoint. I think this is the job description part of a brand manager. What I took away, Shankar sir, is that it's not just designing promotional materials, which are obviously the usual stuff and doing everyone else, but also talking of P&Ls and meeting doctors, but protecting the true IP assets, which are trademarks or brands, has been extensively covered by both of you today. The other point, actually, I loved hearing is is Bharat's legal aspect of class 5, class 3, and also the simple generic or the suggestive methods of branding are no longer going to work. We have to make it very, very differentiated because the courts are not going to accept those levels of lame kind of brand naming exercises. And Shankar sir, with your level of rich experience, you have actually, given examples of coining very different class brand names, which have nothing to do with the category or with the generic moiety itself. So I believe that the audience would have gained quite substantially from today's 1.5 hour session. I also see the chat boxes where people have said it's a wonderful session and thank you very much for the informative session. And Shankar has said very informative. So I believe that this has been a very good session for the audience. We've had almost about 60 people at one point attend this session. So thanks to everyone. We are always available. I will share you my coordinates with all the members who attended the session today. Thank you so much. We'll also send you a Google feedback form, so please do punch in your feedbacks and send it to us in the next few days. But once again, thanks to all of you. Thanks to our esteemed guests, Bharat and Shankar sir, for making this a wonderful session. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shailesh. Thank you, Shankar da.
Bye. It was very good. Great session.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone. And thanks for joining in again.